Hey friends, welcome back. I'm kind of excited today. I just got a product in the mail, and I'm kind of excited about it. So you guys may or may not know, but I run a ZMR 250. Dear Lord, I run a ZMR 250 for my racing quad. And this is kind of this is the older one, and it's got the messed up motors on, or not messed up motors, but not the right motors, and so I'm waiting for new motors for this frame and blah blah blah, all that stuff. But UBAD, you buy a drone, these guys right here, UBuyADrone.com just came out with a new power distribution board for the ZMR 250 frame, and I got it today. I pre-ordered it about 3 weeks ago, and they just shipped them out today. And so this is the Kunai PDB for the ZMR 250, and this is it's pretty cool. I read everything I could read about it that they had online, and it seems to be a really neat setup for the way that they're doing this. So basically what you've got is on the back here, you've got your battery pads. So your 2 to 4S LiPo, you're gonna hook up to right there, and then you've got all the way around it, you've got pads for the ESC. You've got some accessory pads as well. You've got your video transmitter pad right here, and now this is kind of cool because it does video plus your voltage from the front of the quad up here where it says camera, and then it goes through a regulator, and you can switch this between 5 volt and 12 volt, and then it all feeds back to the back side of the quad. So basically they're assuming that you're going to have your camera up front and you're going to have your transmitter in the back, and so it's all going to feed off of there. Then what's also really cool about this is made for the Naze 32 or the Ninja 32 flight controller, and so in the middle here you've got your pad, your mounting spot for the Naze or the Ninja, and you also have off to the side right here, you have the pins for the flight control board to hook into. So when you mount this, and they give you little standoffs, when you mount the flight control board, the outputs going to the motors will mount directly into those pins. And then at each motor arm you have a servo lead right here that you can mount, or that you can directly plug in your lead off of your ESC. And this is a brush, but it don't matter, same. You plug in your lead from your ESC directly to the board right next to the motor, so you can actually shorten those ESC servo leads up. And so instead of having, this long of a servo lead mounting from your motor arm right here, going all the way to your flight control board, you just need a short little guy, which is kind of a cool idea. It shortens a bunch of wires up, and it's going to eliminate a lot of jumbled wiring for your ZMR 250. So that's this is incomplete, and the UBAD's going to ship it to you just like you're going to get a They're going to ship it to you just like you're going to get a NAS 32 board. It's going to be bare. So we'll open up the little baggie here. Open up the second little baggie here. And so you get a strip. And these are female servo. And then let's see what else we get here. We get a set of right angle, three pin right angle. Oh hell, we need a couple sets. I mean, let's see here. This is all what we got here. We got some right angles, we got some straights, we got some more straights, we got standoffs, we got some washers, we got some screws, we got the buzzer, so we got all that stuff that's going to be on the board. I've been looking a little bit more at the parts, and so you get sets of these 3 straight pins. You get, there's 4 of those. And those are the individuals. These are the 90 degree. There's 4 sets of these guys. Then there's a set of these are the break apart ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's 8 of these, and I know that for some part of it you're gonna have to. You're going to have to do some soldering up here for the power regulator. I'm just not sure exactly how yet, since there are no instructions. But we're going to figure it out. Okay, so, and if I've got to call UBAD to get the info, to give you guys the info, I will do it. Whatever I got to do, because I'm not going to put this together half-assed and then, hey, you know, the thing doesn't fly for shit and everybody's all up in arms and be like, Grib, dude, you didn't, you know, you didn't put it together right, and I don't do that. So we're going to figure this out. One of the things I just kind of found here, so you've got on the top, you've got your adjustable voltage regulator, yada yada yada. And in it you get this here bag, which has the other part of the voltage regulator. Now this actually goes on the bottom here, right here, and it solders on. You have a set of pins that show you the in and the out, positive and negative, and same on the bottom, the ground and voltage in and out. So you're going to take some of your straight pins that you got here, make a set of pairs, and you're going to set those in there, and then let's see, we got voltage, we got out, we got, you're actually going to set the components are going to be facing down like that, and you're going to solder everything up. You're going to do all 4 corners like that. Now, because you've got that regulator board hanging off the bottom, your standard width of 3 millimeters between the 2 plates, because that's all the arm thickness is, isn't going to cut it, because this thing itself is 5 millimeters thick. So what they did was they actually included spacers. There's one for each arm, one for the front, one for the back. However, those stock guys are not going to work. So you can see the 2 holes that I've got here. I'm going to put this stock screw in that hole. It doesn't even poke up above the riser. So these stock screws they're 10 millimeters in length, and they are 3 millimeter diameter. So M3 by 10 millimeter. The screws that work are 18 millimeter. M3 by 18 millimeter. One thing I noticed about this, as I'm putting it together, and it is coming together, it's actually coming together quite well. Notice 2 things. So these are the sockets, the female headers, basically. You take your strip of header pins, and these are mine. I got these from Radio Shack. These are quite nice header pins. But you know, these just plug right into there. So, but what they didn't do is they didn't separate them or etch them or any way that you can get these apart easily. So what I found with these, an easy way to separate them is to actually just take your needle nose, because they're so, let's see if that'll focus, they're so tight in between there. So say I want 2 of them, I'm going to take that 3rd pin out right there. Now that's going to give me enough gap to take my knife, and I'm going to go right where that pin was, and just lop it off, just like that. It would have been nice if they had scored these so you could just snap it. Unfortunately they didn't, but they did, however, give you enough extra. Let's see, I've already screwed up a couple times, and you see pieces that I kind of screwed up, but there's enough extra to screw up a few more times and not really worry about it. Okay, so we now got the nays mounted up. Basically you can see how the pins plug in to the board. The next thing, of course, you really have to make sure that you do this, or you're going to be flying sideways. Because you are not orienting the board, the nays, with the arrow towards the front of the quad, you're orienting it with the arrow to the side. When you go into your configurator, whether it be clean flight or base flight, you're going to have to put an offset. With this, because the front of the quad's here, you're over here, you're going to have to put a 90-degree you're going to have to put a 90-degree offset. Now if it was pointing this way, you'd put a 270-degree offset. I kind of like this just for the simple reason that now, because I always had it with the arrow pointing towards the front of the quad, but now your micro USB port is off to the side. So I had one around here just a minute ago. When you go to plug in to your computer, it's right there on the side instead of having to fish it up through the rear. Okay, so we've got the ZMR back together. Everything's hooked up on the PDB, and we've got some pros and some cons to it. I really like the plug and play feature of hooking up plugging the nays directly into the PDB and screwing it down. I'm a huge fan of that. The servo ports on the side right next to the arms, where you can go ahead and just plug your servo lead directly in. Also a huge fan of that. There's a con with that though. So if you see right here, you see your servo lead there. There's not a whole lot of marking. You've got the S1, it tells you what motor it is. So S1, S2, S3, S4. Now, before you solder the header pins in, you have this printed right around the 3 holes. Now this line in the middle right here, well, it's not in the middle, it's off to one side, so 1/3, 2/3. This guy that's isolated is your signal wire. And that's all well and good, but as soon as you solder the header pins in place, it covers up that line, and so you have to look really hard. Now what would have been a compromise to that they could have done in the screen printing of the board is put a little omega symbol underneath that pin. Now you can see that they've got, with those S1, S2, the motor markings right here, that's S4. That does not correlate to having the signal wire on that side, because with the S4 on that side, well, then you come over here to S3. S3 is on the side of the signal wire, where S4 is actually on the side of the ground. So you can't go by the motor markings for your signal wire. So screen printing the little omega right underneath the signal wire would have been the best bet. Maybe we can get that in on the next production. I hope so. It'd be kind of nice. So that the next con that I see with the adjustable power regulator right underneath here is you can't get to the screw to adjust the regulator with this bottom plate on. So what you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to hook everything up. And what I did before I put my bottom plate on, I actually just took some of these standoffs and I had the machine screws going through, and just take the standoff and thread it onto that machine screw to hold everything in place. Then you can go ahead and power it up, adjust your voltage, have a friend hold the leads to your trusty voltmeter while you sit there and adjust the voltage. Speaking of screws, the guys from UBAD, they're not providing screws. I talked to one of the guys down there, and he said that for the pre-order they were considering it. However, to get all the screws in, it would have pushed back the release of the PDB another 2 weeks. So hit your local fastener shop. What you're looking at, or what you're looking for rather, is these guys right here. It's a socket cap M3 20mm length. Now if you've got the original ZMR 250 frame, you should have like 4 of these in it. These are 18mm. These are perfect length. You can see the 20mm, they stick up just a little bit above the top of the nylock. If you crash, it's going to get ground off. However, I would rather have that ground off than the head. So I actually went to my local Fastenal. You're going to need 20 of them. 20 M3 .05 thread pitch, 20mm in length. You're going to need 20 of those screws, and it's going to cost you under $5. So you've got 4 for each arm, brings you to 16, and then for the front and the back spacers, you're going to need some because you're going to thread them in from the bottom going up into the standoffs. So 20 screws, M3, 20 millimeters. Aside from that, great things to say about it. Those are really the only flaws that I can see with the board. It's thicker than your standard plate. You put those side by side, you can definitely see the thickness difference. Sandwiching everything together with the stand or with the spacers, especially in the front and the back. I think those spacers are going to give you more rigidity in the front and the back versus the standard setup, because you've only got 3 millimeters gap in between here with the standard setup, because that's how thick the arms are. So a 3 millimeter, pros and cons, but hey, whatever. I like the rigidity how it is with everything set up. The other problem that I ran into was on the back here with the battery hold down. The 2 holes that are drilled for the battery hold down, with this rear spacer in place, those 2 holes are blocked by the spacer. So UBAD, if you guys ever watch this video, another improvement idea, move these holes forward or back like 3 millimeters and allow us to get access to those holes without having to try and work around this spacer. Aside from that, great things to say about it. Love the simplicity of it. Putting everything together, it went really quickly. I mean, there's some soldering to it, a lot more soldering than just doing a standard naze board, mainly because you're going to have to do a standard naze board as well. Would recommend, if you've already got a ZMR with a naze board on it, get a new naze. Trying to desolder the pins and put in new ones is just more headache than it's worth, especially with the naze board being $25. So if you're going to use the Kunai PDB, save yourself a little bit of headache, and just go ahead and get a new naze board. Great, thumbs up, love it. UBAD, ubuyadrone.com. Awesome. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe. Comment if you have any questions. If hey, something's not looking right, go ahead and drop the question in the comment box below. I always do my best to answer them very quickly. Thanks for watching the channel, and I hope to get some more stuff in to do reviews and how-tos and all that stuff later. Maybe they'll send me some more stuff. Thanks for watching.